Words said in the aftermath are just too confusing. Now I spend my days watching you throw stones at someone who's already dead. And if this is the way we all begin, then how can I ask for any more? You've already wasted all these years. What do you need me for? What do you need me for? Words said in the aftermath have a way of turning things around. And this one was busy getting glory from breaking the bad news. I feel insane, and you don't seem to care at all. Well, the only one forgiven is the one who is faking. This is the way we all begin, so how can I ask for any more?
I'm Rob Dunkelbringer, a member in good standing of the Twin Cities Theater Bloggers, and this is The Stages of Minnesota. On this, the premiere episode, I'll be talking to Austene Van, the Executive Artistic Director of Yellow Tree Theater in Osseo. But first, I want to welcome you and let you know a little of what to expect on this and future episodes. This weekly show will appear here on YouTube, but you can also enjoy it in podcast form, where it will be available in vanilla, chocolate, and peppermint bonbon flavors. We'll feature interviews with theater makers, have previews of upcoming shows, reviews of shows around the cities, as well as touring productions. And don't be surprised if you see a guest blogger or two turn up from time to time. We'll also try and have some fun along the way. And in that spirit, let's take a look at my interview with Austene Van in a segment I call Sharing a Sandwich With. When I decided to branch the Stages of Minnesota out into a YouTube show and podcast, there was only one person I thought of for my first guest, Sir Kenneth Branagh. When he didn't return my calls, I reached out to the only person in the Twin Cities that I thought could fill his shoes. As the Executive Artistic Director of Yellow Tree Theater, Austene Van brings theater to the suburbs. Along with her work at Yellow Tree, she is also an accomplished director, writer, actor, choreographer, and activist. Someone sitting in this chair once called her the busiest woman in theater. As a way to write off groceries for tax purposes, and because you're always hearing about starving artists, I thought it might be fun to conduct some of our interviews under the banner Sharing a Sandwich With. When I asked Austene if she was game, she immediately said, absolutely. Her next comment was, I don't eat bread. So, for the inaugural segment of Sharing a Sandwich With, I'll be sharing a wrap with Austene Van. Austene, my first question is, am I using air quotes correctly? In your own time. We do just have the one afternoon, though.
Yes.
I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
They only gave us one pickle. We can share.
Great. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
What's that
good.
over there? What is that?
Yeah, it's a good pickle, isn't it?
It's so good. Delicious.
Oh.
With the woodiness.
I found the other pickle. Here, we can split this one too.
I'm so, thank you so much. I dropped it. Oh, shoot. It's dirty.
Your second one?
One and two. Oh. Too late. That's too bad. I really wanted that bitten pickle.
You're all right. You good?
No, I'm good.
It was at this point that we decided that trying to conduct an interview while eating was better suited to those situations when you're receiving nourishment intravenously. So we put the interview on hold while we ate, agreeing not to speak so as not to accidentally say something interesting while we were not recording. Good wrap. All it's missing is bread. Well, that was a delicious wrap.
It was delicious.
Good pickles, too.
The best pickles. Yeah.
That's Gedney, their Minnesota pickle.
They're
really good.
Are they really expensive?
No, no, it's a mid-range pickle.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. Perfect for a small family, I think. Okay, so in my introduction, did I omit any words?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm always trying to learn something else. I'm trying to learn sound design now because we're a skeleton crew. Sometimes I learn how to like build stuff because we're a skeleton crew, and sometimes I'm in people's way trying to learn some lighting stuff and then costume stuff. So it's just kind of whatever we need. Brandon and I will jump in to do.
Sure.
Yeah, but am I a master of those things that I just mentioned? Not at all in any kind of way.
But you're learning.
I'm learning. I love learning. I feel like I'm always in a place where I'm at zero. Does that make sense? I'm at zero. What else can I learn that will infuse my work?
Sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of your work, why theater? What was your path that brought you to here?
I was on it before I knew it. My mother and my father and all my aunts and uncles and my grandmother were entertainers. My dad played the bass. My mother was a singer. My aunt played the drums, and she taught us dance, and my grandmother taught us dance. My grandmother, she was a director and helped to found Model Cities Health Clinic, which was down the hallway from Penumbra. She was a beast. She was amazing. But she would let us know that your talents aren't for you, little selfish kids. And they're not just for fun either. They are fun, but you have to share them with people that are terminally ill or sick or lonely. So we would perform for her seniors and her terminally ill patients, and then we'd go down the hall and see what was happening. And at Penumbra, Black people were doing stuff on stage. It was amazing. I became a Penumbra company member with its Art for Social Justice. It was just excellent. And so we learned how to expand as artists and Black artists to grow, to be the best that we can be on stage. So that's kind of how I got started. Dancer, actor, then a choreographer. And then Lou threw me in to direct a show. He literally threw me in. Literally said, direct this show and I'll be back in town. And so I did, and I was like, well, Lou, shouldn't I know about a gobo or about, should I have some language to share with my sound designer? I didn't go to school for directing. And so he said, no, you just have to surround yourself with experts and articulate your vision, have a vision. He said, and if you don't know anything, say, I don't know. I'd worked with a lot of different theaters that believed the same thing. So I just stole from them when I became an artistic director. Founded New Dawn. I took some of their missions and how they serve. And I wanted to implement that into New Dawn, which was a theater without walls, and that uplifts our folks, our LGBTQIA folks, our people of color, our women. So I wanted to make sure that we were doing plays by those folks and for those folks and with those folks. So that's kind of how I got started in kind of the trajectory to becoming an artistic director.
And that mission really feels more important today than ever before.
Absolutely. There's something that happens with theater because we don't all read, right? We don't all go to school, but you can disseminate, you can offer, you can share information that we all experience together. You can educate people, you can touch people's hearts. I thought that was just going to be. And now that it's threatened, I realize, well, now we have to dig in our heels. We can't take it for granted that we're not going to be censored and we're not going to be shut down. Theater is powerful. And that's one of the reasons it's getting shut down.
Let's talk about the current funding crisis that theaters are, including Yellow Tree, are feeling right now.
Yeah. I felt it right after the election. I could feel that it was coming. So, they're coming after the thing that is probably the most powerful. Because that administration is full of entertainers and wrestlers and personalities on television, they understand how powerful theater and art and music is. So you have to shut that down if you want to practice certain ways of oppressing people. So they're coming after our funding. We've had, and almost every day, Rob, I get some email from another theater, not just here, but from around the nation, that has had funding pulled from them for certain projects, certain programs that smack of anything that has to do with being diverse or having equity or including people, and the oppression of women and the oppression of people of color, the oppression of LGBTQIA. I don't know what this fear is that they have of us. Can't put my finger on it, but I know that it is.
And I wish it's also a distraction.
It's a distraction.
Distraction from what we're stealing over here.
But it's all an economic game. And part of that economic game, of course, is to keep you and I separate. Make sure that we're divided.
So there's some verbiage that I took from the Jungle Theater site when they did their Don't Expect Indifference. And it says, these are the guidelines that the administration put out. The applicant will not operate any programming promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion that violates any applicable federal anti-discrimination laws in accordance with the Executive Order number 14173. Now, to me, that sounds like we're not going to fund any plays that aren't about white people.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. Some white people are feeling disenfranchised. They're really afraid about their position in the world, not understanding that there's enough for everybody. Right. The reason why we were implementing diversity, equity, and inclusion is because folks were overlooked. Qualified people were overlooked in favor of people that may not have the same qualifications, but just were born of a certain culture, race, economic status. We also understand that since we were little, we had to be, we, meaning a lot of people of color, had to be beyond reproach. You can't slack off. You have to be bigger, badder, and more bionic to sit at any table. So the issue is not that we're not qualified or we're just getting hired because of our skin. The issue has been, don't discriminate and allow people that are qualified, no matter what background they are from, to take a position, to earn a position. But that whole hunger for dominance and power is poison, unnecessary, and a little sick. How could we feel good stepping on anyone else? That's very strange. But we keep nurturing this narcissism. We keep nurturing being a sociopath. We keep nurturing violence. We keep nurturing those things and trying to normalize it. Somehow, violence and pain, all the horrible things, seem to be power to people. And so that's another reason they come after us.
Yep. There's a certain amount of people who feel like they're not succeeding unless someone else is failing.
Absolutely.
Which is a difficult concept for us to grasp because we feel if we're all doing well,
Yeah.
we're all succeeding. Why wouldn't everybody want that?
Absolutely. I don't get, Rob, I don't get this. If you're not feeding people and their brains are dying, if you're not educating people and they don't know right from left, if you're not making sure that they're strong physically and intellectually and emotionally and all that stuff, we just have a dumber nation.
Right.
Why do you want that? Why
Because
don't we?
It's easier to control.
There you go. That's absolutely
That is exactly
right.
the game plan. It really felt like the world was progressing, and then it felt like we regressed
Yes,
dramatically.
we did.
We even had a moment, the George Floyd moment, where I think a lot of eyes were opened and people started to look around on stage and say, is the representation really where it should be?
Right.
And as someone in the audience, I felt I saw over the next 2 or 3 years more effort being put into telling those stories, telling trans stories, telling African American stories, telling Native American stories. Mm-hmm. I saw a wonderful play in a park where you walk through and followed Buddha's trail, and that was just that's unique and magical. And why would we not want to encourage seeing the world from all these different perspectives through all these different lenses?
Yeah.
Representation is a huge thing, and I'm sure you growing up, being near Penumbra and seeing Black people on stage performing and giving people hope and raising people's spirits and making them laugh and sing and feel sad. Yeah. And all the things that theater can do is huge. I know for my son who's trans, seeing trans people on film, TV, on stages is a powerful thing. Yes. It really helps you inside to say, I can do this too. Absolutely. I matter. I'm out in the world.
The vision is
I'm
important.
not isolated.
Yes. Yeah. If you can see your image anywhere, that's the most important. I remember directing a show at the Ordway. It dawned on me because I would hear it a lot, not just from little girls, but from the other cast members. They had never been directed by a Black woman before, but I had little Black girls in front of me who had never seen that either. And that was, I think, 2017. And I was like, not in this day should I still be saying I'm the first of anything, but also we should be seeing all of us everywhere. It shouldn't be unusual to see our folks in places of leadership.
Right.
Yeah.
So in response to those directives, Yellow Tree joined with the community of other theaters at Jungle Theater in Uptown on April 22nd for an event entitled Don't Expect Indifference. I was there. It was an extremely powerful evening for me in the audience. How did that come about, and how did it feel for you?
I know that a lot of us were sending each other information, and then I asked some of the artistic directors to come to Yellow Tree to speak about stuff, and then at the same time, Christina was like, we're going to do this thing. Would you come and speak? I'll do anything to get the word out to people. That's part of the problem. People don't know what we're going through, what we are, where we need to go, how to fight, the pressures on us and the scrutiny. And so the idea was beautiful to me, to let the public know theaters are under attack. It was my pleasure. I'll do anything for Christina Baldwin. For our country and for our community and for our theaters, absolutely, I'll be there, knocking anyone's religion. But to force our own selves, our own ways, our own morals, our own standards, our own everything on someone else is ridiculous. Trans people aren't hurting you.
Right.
Why are you thinking about them? You should be thinking about how to elevate yourself.
Yeah.
How to love better, how to feed people. Can you learn how to do that? How to clothe people, how to educate people. You could be doing that, but instead you are concerned about other people and what they're doing in their home or walking down the street. It's the craziest thing, but it's the need to police people because maybe, I'm not a psychologist, everybody, but you don't feel good. You don't feel good just being you.
Nope. You got to make somebody else feel bad.
Absolutely.
And then you feel good.
You feel good. That should be looked at.
Yes.
Why do you feel delicious if someone feels bad? Look at that.
This is why I wanted Austene for my first guest, because we have a very similar mindset. discovered that over our texts and messages and the shows that we've discussed. I mean, it's just like, you get it.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yes, you do.
I hope.
Yes, you do.
And we try and do what we do to make the world better in what little way we can.
Yeah.
So let's move on and talk a little bit about what the future of theater is.
Currently, our future looks like we could all close tomorrow. That's what it looks like. But we're fighting. We're fighting in the courts. We're fighting through the public opinion. We're trying to get everyone activated to understand what's actually happening. And then I think after this is what I really believe, because we will have developed a different muscle and a deeper appreciation for what we actually have, we're going to be stronger. We've got to be stronger, but some of our theaters are going to suffer or maybe go on hiatus for a little bit. We are determined to make sure that we continue to do our art and continue to touch people and continue to provoke thought and to continue to make people roll up their sleeves to help their neighbors. One of my mentors, Lou Bellamy, said to me, and I love this, ain't no hill for a high stepper. So, yep, this is a challenge, but I was born for this. If you here right now, you are born for this and for this time. And if we run, it's not even a they win. It's not they.
Right.
But a darkness will. The negativity will. And we will lose people. We'll lose human beings.
Yeah. We're always struggling to build new audiences, bring younger people in. It's really important for theaters to try and engage in some way to bring them in. That's what I love about Yellow Tree is lots of people go to the theater in the cities. There is a thing out in the suburbs where like, I don't like to drive in the cities.
Yes,
You
yes.
hear it. So there is a theater here, and there's a theater out in Anoka called Lyric Arts. And they're both excellent theaters that put on great shows. And it is a way to get people who would not normally travel in to see theater. And I always hope that they see one of those shows that just, that was so great. We got to do more theater. Man, go to theater more instead of sit on the couch and watch Netflix.
Yeah.
If you have that experience at one of these theaters, go check out other shows.
Yes.
But then also subscribe to the one that you first fell in love with. Become a season ticket holder. Come back. Support them, because if Yellow Tree goes away or Lyric Arts goes away, we lose a layer of bringing people to the arts.
Absolutely.
And that, for me, is what Yellow Tree is about. It's about bringing people in and creating that stepping stone to other theater.
Absolutely. We need our audience, and we call them our spouses because it's a relationship, but we need them more than ever, especially since these grants are being pulled. If you think that you can't help, you can. $5 does a lot. And I can tell you a story about $3. And volunteering or calling and saying, I have an idea. Just being in partnership with us, because we can't do this without everyone else. Most of us are nonprofits.
And in many cases, the funding that's being retracted was already budgeted.
Yes.
It was already guaranteed.
People signed contracts.
And it's just gone.
Yes.
Which seems illegal.
That's why they're going to, they're taking it to the courts, because, there are signed agreements.
Right.
And so those are legally binding.
So let's talk about Yellow Tree. Let's talk about what the summer programs are and what your 25-26 season is looking like.
So excited. Okay, so this summer we're going to do something different with our Treehouse Summer Camp. We're going to actually give them Shakespeare.
Nice.
Usually they do their own plays, and this year we thought we'd challenge them with Midsummer. Thomasine is going to come, and she's going to do some concerts. I'm going to read some new excerpts from Once Upon a Time this summer, and some of our friends are going to come do workshops. We have our food and clothing drive on August 16th, so we're going to be accepting some clothing and some canned goods and dry goods, and We're just going to have a beautiful day on August 16th and have everything out for free for everybody, especially nowadays. We don't know. It feels like, a recession is coming, so people are going to need some food and some clothing. And we're going to have a mixer, too. We want to just have a party, but we want to get our theaters together and some donors together and our spouses together to just have a mixer to say thank you and just have a good time, probably outside. And then, did you ask me about next season?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to bring back Misery. That's going to be the fall show. And then a new play that we haven't done called, it sounds like we've done it, because there's titles with almost the same sound, which is A Christmas Carol, More or Less. And that's about a couple who own a theater, and they usually do a Christmas Carol, but they are in danger of breaking up because he wants to go move to LA. They have to perform this show. There's no cast because they're stuck in a blizzard in Minnesota. And so eventually, I won't spoil it for you, but it's very funny. Then we're going to do Angry, Raucous, and Shamelessly Gorgeous. It's going to be a regional premiere by Pearl Clegg, and that's hilarious. It's 4 women. It's absolutely funny. A woman made a splash and became famous in the 90s by doing an August Wilson show, one woman, naked. And now she's older, and people are asking to revisit this play, and she thinks they want her to do it.
Oh, but
they don't really want her to do it. But it's really funny. It's really funny. And then we will drop in, since we've had to postpone Marie and Rosetta, we will drop that in April 3rd, and it'll close April 19th.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What about your one-woman playwright festival?
Yes. Yes, and that'll be next summer out in Borgum Park. It was great, so we'll do that again.
Cool.
Yeah.
What side hustles are on the horizon for Austene Band?
Oh, rest.
Good for you. Didn't know you could do that.
I didn't either. I want to see what it's like to sit on my porch.
Yeah. You've earned it.
Yeah.
You've earned it.
I want to see what that's like.
Austene, I want to thank you for being my first guest. All kidding aside, you were the only person that I wanted for my first episode.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you agreed. And I hope you enjoyed your rap.
I did. It was delicious.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and thank you for having me.
Yes.
Rob. This means a lot to me.
You can find a link to the Yellow Tree website in the show notes. Go there to explore the new season, buy tickets, and donate. Since we recorded our interview, Yellow Tree has announced that the Masters of Improvisation will be part of their summer offerings. This group of improv and sketch comedians got their start at Dudley Riggs' Brave New Workshop in the 70s. They are reuniting for 2 shows, June 28th and July 12th at 6:30 p.m. Tickets are $40. You can purchase tickets to those shows on the Yellow Tree website, along with the just-announced multi-show discount passes for Season 18, available in all shows, 3-show, and 2-show varieties. We also want to remind you about the food and clothing drive. Drop-off will continue until July 28th at Yellow Tree Theater lobby. Donations of non-perishable food, gently used clothing, winter gear, and hygiene items are greatly needed. Before we get to the actual review segment of the show, I want to put a couple of things on your radar. In the last week, I took in 2 of my favorite local reoccurring shows. The first is called Movie Fight Club. It's a live comedy panel show performed at Bryant Lake Bowl Theater. It's hosted by Josh Carson of A Very Die Hard Christmas fame, who asks a rotating trio of Twin Cities actors and comedians 9 questions about the movies. They each present their answer and arguments. Then the audience votes on the winner for each round. This past week's panelists were Lauren Anderson, Devon Bland, and Allison Vincent. Past competitors have included such local legends as Mike Fotis, Sam Landman, and Duck Washington. It's always a blast, full of laughs and surprises. The next meeting of the Movie Fight Club will be August 14th. Tickets are not on sale yet, but we'll have a link in the show notes to the Bryant Lake Bowl Theater page. The second is called Off Book, and it is now my favorite improv show. Off Book is hosted at the Jungle Theater, and each round features a pair of performers, one who has memorized the lines to a scene from a play. Their scene partner has to improvise their half, not even knowing the name of the scripted play. This leads to some incredibly funny scenes. I've seen this performed 3 times now. The group of actors and performers are always changing, but it's always hysterically funny. The next scheduled performance is July 21st. You can get tickets at the Jungle Theater website, which we will link to in the show notes. Now it's time for some reviews. Whether it moves me to cheers or tears, puts me to sleep, or gets me up on my feet. These are my Minnesota Honest reviews. Truthful, but not hurtful. On today's show, we have 2 reviews. Both tie in nicely with the interview. My pick of the weekend is Significant Other by Joshua Harmon, which runs through June 22nd at Lyric Arts in Anoka, the other theater I mentioned during the interview. It's the story of Jordan, a gay man in his late 20s living in New York City, who's feeling more and more alone as his circle of friends begin to get married and have families. The role of Jordan is played by Lyric Arts leading man and 2024 Twin Cities Theater Blogger Award winner for Favorite Emerging Artist, Noah Hynek. Hynek gives a hilariously neurotic performance as Jordan, but he grounds it in an emotional rawness that connects with the audience. We laugh at him, with him, and out of our own recognition of that awkward uncertainty that most humans struggle with at some point. Whether he is sweetly bending the ear of his grandmother or having it out with his best friend, every moment feels grounded in character. Hynek is surrounded by a terrific supporting cast, including Miriam Monash as the grandmother and Eva Gemlo as his best friend Laura. Jordan has a variation on the same conversation each week with his grandmother, which is their weekly walk down memory lane of the picture of Jordan that is still her favorite and the stories that go along with it. There is so much truth in those scenes, the humor of repeating the same thing over and over, but at the center, the sense that it's really about the love between them. Jordan and Laura have an argument towards the end of the show, and Gemlo brings it all to that scene. Yes, this is Jordan's story, but she makes him and the audience acknowledge that everything isn't about him. It's one of the scenes that really raises the script to the next level. We understand what Jordan is feeling, but just because it's his story doesn't mean the world in which it takes place revolves around him, and that is an important lesson for everyone to learn. Significant Other is directed by Max Wotanowitz with care. He allows his actors to find their characters and trusts that the humor will work all the better for it. It's an insightful and very funny play that will delight mature audiences. This is not a play for anyone under 16 years of age. It's also a really brave choice for Lyric Arts to produce, and I hope audiences will reward that risk by embracing it. Also closing this weekend is Mae West and the Trial of Sex, a new play by John Hembuck that chronicles the legal battle between Mae West and the powers of censorship in the early part of the 20th century. Nearly 100 years ago, the theater community of New York City, and by extension the country, was dealt a legal blow that amounted to censorship. Today, as I discussed with Austene, the theater community is under attack again. Like that trial so many years ago, what is said to be the cause for those actions and what the true result of them being taken are completely different. But it all amounts to the same thing: silencing the voices of the minority. The sex trial prosecuted West, her producers, and cast for performing a work that could contribute to the corruption of minors and others, but it was really about preventing another show being produced by West called The Drag. The Drag featured a cast of 20 female impersonators, which William Randolph Hearst wanted to crush due to its open portrayal of homosexuality and cross-dressing. The result led to what amounted to a legal ban on the portrayal of queer characters in theater until the late 1960s. Hambuck's new play, drawn from the historical records, shows the absurdity and injustice that abound when powerful, rich white people decide they want something. Laws no longer matter, rules are rewritten, the haves get what they want, and the have-nots lose the last thing they have, their voice. The story is told by an exceptional group of 7 performers, most of whom must play more than half a dozen roles each. They are led by Emily A. Grodzik, who plays Mae West very effectively. The show is directed by the Stages of Minnesota favorite Allison Vincent. The story flashes between scenes and settings so quickly it would create deadly long scene changes were Vincent to have gone the realistic route. Instead, the play is staged with a wink to the audience, acknowledging that this is a play, and so characters wheel set pieces into the center stage from the sides. Costume changes are made in split seconds in view of the audience. This contributes to the humor at times, but most importantly keeps the show clipping along. Though the fast pace can't entirely disguise the fact that the script does seem a little unfocused or overextended at times. Mae West and the Trial of Sex is another show that retells the past through the lens of the present, something I expect the current administration to outlaw shortly. It's a cautionary tale, but one told with a lot of humor. Mae West and the Trial of Sex from Walking Shadow Theater Company runs through June 22nd at the Crane Theater in Minneapolis.
Do I really have to go? Hard pressed to find a reason to brave the cold. So warm inside your cabin, give me just another moment. Wrapped inside the blanket of your body, the blanket of your body. Time to hit the open road. Loving arms await me, their domain knows me alone. Never a single question, 35 years full of holiday cheer, and still no invitation for my +1.
Each week, we'll put together a little montage like the one you just saw of theater goers and theater makers that I run into at shows. You don't have to be involved in theater. I love meeting fellow audience members. So, if you see me at a show, don't be shy. Say hi. Ask for a picture, and you may find yourself on the Stages of Minnesota. If you have comments, questions, suggestions of topics you'd like to see covered on the show, or are interested in sponsoring an episode of the show, you can email me at robdunkelberger@thestagesofmn.com. Remember, you can read all of my reviews on my blog at thestagesofmn.com. You can listen to the podcast version of this show wherever you enjoy podcasts. On this, the first episode, I want to send out a special thanks to Dale Stark and everyone at Hennepin Arts for granting us access to the Orpheum Theater to film the show's opening. I also want to thank Ryan Lee for the generous use of his music. Every note of music used in the Stages of Minnesota show came from his 4 albums, which you can find at ryanlee.bandcamp.com. That does it for this week. Next week, I'll be back with a look at the world premiere of Endometriosis, the musical, which opens this week at Theater in the Round. If you enjoyed the show, please help spread the word. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review the show. It goes a long way towards enlarging our reach, which in the end helps boost the signal of theaters. Until next week, in the immortal words of Carol Jackson, go see a show.
'Cause it's all over, but the shouting Every soul needs light. My mind's been wasting away in the afternoon shade, out of sight. And I am not the pure and perfect one, but my branches are still bent toward the